Welcome to VLearn Virtual Learning Network. This is session number 1 of Social Problems in India, and the topic is Social Transformation and Problems. Topics to be covered are Introduction, Concept of Social Transformation, Transformation in Social Problems, Concept of Social Problems, Definitions, Social Problems in Social Movements, Social Problems and Social Policy. Now come to the first topic, that is introduction. Social problems are closely linked with social structure, ideologies, values, attitudes, institutions, power, authority and interest of society. The process of social transformation brings about change in these different aspects of social life and side by side generates new social problems. In early sociology, concepts of evolution and progress were used to indicate the dynamic aspects of society, and it was gradually realized that these were value-loaded concepts and therefore replaced by social change, which was considered to be more neutral and value-free. Social transformation is a broad concept used to indicate social dynamics. The ideas conveying the meanings of evolution, progress and change on the one hand and the meaning of development, modernization and revolution on the other are incorporated within the concept of transformation. Social transformation is a broad concept used to indicate social dynamics, and the ideas conveying the meaning of evolution, progress and change on the one hand and the meaning of development, modernization and resolution on the other are incorporated within the concept of transformation. Social transformation and social problems are closely linked with each other. Society is not static, but the dominant groups in society sometimes want to perpetuate their hold over society and protect their interests by repressive methods. The concept of social transformation. The concept of social transformation has occupied a significant place in social sciences after the Second World War. There is a conflict between the material forces of production with the existing rules of production. The conflict based on these contradictions leads to social revolution. Models of modernization. Modernization as a concept represents ideologies, values of the industrial capitalist and democratic societies of the Western Europe and North America. The other characteristics of modernization are free market, industrialization, modern technology, democratic state and modern education. There are 5 major dimensions of modernization, that is technological, economic, political, social and psychological. The modernization model of development has a close relationship with the process of industrial and the industrial society. Marxian revolution model. Despite industrialization, application of heavy technology and large-scale production, man has lost his dignity in the capitalist model or modernization. According to the exponents of the revolutionary model, only a revolutionary transformation can eliminate poverty, inequality, exploitation, unemployment and dehumanization. Critical appraisal of these models. The human society has experienced both modernization and revolutionary models of transformation. These writers stress that Western civilization represented by materialisms, industrialization and modern technology was moving towards decline. As a system, it creates dictatorship, police terror, executions, denial of human rights, decline in productions, collapse of economy and the creation of a new class of party functionaries and the state officials. The social problems of violence, unequal distribution of resources, poverty, unemployment could not be solved by these 2 models of transformation. Traditional and modern societies. The traditional society is characterized by agriculture, villages, small-scale undeveloped technology, customs and simple social structure. In traditional societies, there is said to be harmony in social relations and in social institutions. There is consistency between institutions, accepted norms and pattern of behavior. The mechanism of the social control operates through customs, folkways and mores. There tends to be a close correspondence between expectations and achievements in traditional societies. Before and after transformation. Whenever there is either a gradual or a revolutionary transformation, certain problems are bound to emerge in society. For the purpose of understanding, we may consider two stages of society, that is, before the transformation and second is after the transformation. In the pre-transformation phase, the people develop their own way of life, social relations, norms, values, productive system and consumption pattern. With the process of transformation, people are required to adjust themselves to the new requirements, and in the transformation phase, they find difficulties in moving away from the age-old habits. In the post-independence period, concerted efforts has been made through the constitutional provisions for social transformation and planned development, elimination of untouchability and creation of a just and equal society in India. Examples of linkage: certain social problems are directly linked with social transformation. The process of rapid economic development and industrialization are bound to take place in modern society. They are the indicators of modernization, but at the same time they generate problems of regional imbalance, pollution, ecological degradation, slums linked with violence, crime and delinquency. Democracy is supposed to provide equal opportunity to all citizens, and it believes in legal and political equality. It is supposed to increase human dignity, but unfortunately, elections, an essential part of democracy, have encouraged regionalisms, communalisms and casteisms in India. Concept of social problems. All societies have certain situations which affect them adversely. In a common sense way, social problems are considered as conditions which are widespread and have harmful consequences for the society. However, it is not quite as simple. There are several issues involved in the conceptualization of social problems, which may be described as follows. At what stage any specific condition is regarded as a social problem? How the gap between what actually exists and what ought to be is identified. What are the criteria to determine a social problem? Perception of the public. The perception of the public is dependent on how visible a problem is. Crime is easily recognized and the public perceives it as a problem. And there are, as mentioned earlier, problems which may exist but are not recognized. There may be some who see that a particular condition may become a problem and try to make people aware of the situation. Social movements start this way. Women in many societies suffer from many disabilities, denial of worships, ownerships of property, widow remarriage, right to divorce, equal wages, etc. Social ideals and realities. Social problems indicates a gap between what actually exists are compared to what ought to be or what is considered as ideal. The ideal of any society is based on values in a society, and social problems are defined as undesirable conditions in a society. Social values are dynamic, they keep changing. There is a gap between social reality of the ecology being disturbed and the ideal to have an environment which is balanced and beneficial to the people. Now, recognition by significant numbers. A social condition does not become a problem until a sufficiently large number of people think of it as a problem. The opinion makers can influence the thinking of the people. To go back to the earlier example, few thoughts of pollution, of deforestation as a matter of concern about which something had to be done. However, there is now a much greater awareness of the harm caused by this to the society. Efforts are being made to reduce the ill effects of the cutting down of trees. If there is only a small group of people who consider a particular condition as bad, they have to educate people so that there is public awareness. Now, definitions. Social problems are behavior patterns regarded by a large portion of society as being is violation of one or more generally accepted social norms. Social problems as activities of groups which make protest to organizations, institutions and agencies against conditions which they regard as grievable. Two clear perspectives emerge out of these definitions. Social problems are violations of accepted norms and deviations from the accepted social ideals. They are a protest against certain grievances. Characteristics of social problems. First, social problem is caused by manufacture. It was indicated that there is a cause-effect relation with regard to a social problem. Literacy is caused by many factors such as attitude of people to educate, lack of schools in many areas, status of girl child, care of the younger children by older children, malnutrition and poverty to name a few. Second, social problems are interrelated. There is a relation between various social problems. Health is related to poverty, lack of education, attitude of sickness, unemployment, non-availability of medical care, status of women. It is not very difficult to see relations between all the causes and the effects. Social problem affects individuals differently. If there is inflation, some people are affected by it more than the others. People who are poor or who have fixed income will feel the problem more than those that are well off and who have ways and means of increasing their income. Dowry is more a problem for the poor than for the rich. The family with a large number of daughters have a bigger problem in dowry than a family which has only sons. Social problems affect all people. The people in a society are interdependent. What affects one group will affect more members of the society also over time. Few persons are able to protect themselves fully against many of the social problems: violence, unemployment, inflation, communal riots and corruption, etc. Types of social problems. Social problems in the following two categories: social disorganization, deviant behavior. In all social problems, some elements of disorganization refers to two conditions. Social disorganization, inadequacies in the social systems, ineffective working of status and roles. There are certain sources of social disorganization. In all societies, there are some consequences on values and interest. Whenever this degree of unanimity is disturbed by conflicting interest, we find trends of disorganization in that particular society. Second, deviant behavior. The concept of deviant behavior is used by sociologists to include serious crimes as well as the violations of moral codes. In every society, there is a commonly agreed idea of normal behavior. Whenever someone moves away from the accepted norms and behaves differently, that behavior may be regarded as abnormal or deviant behavior. The crimes, juvenile delinquencies, mental disorders, drug addiction, and alcoholism are some of examples of deviant behavior. Now, social problems in social movements. Social problems under several circumstances are the products of outdated institutions. For example, monarchy as an institution is mainly responsible for repressive measures against democratic aspirations. Even today, in many countries of the world, social problems are also a result of a gap between the social ideals and the actual practice. In spite of so much talks against corruption and slogans for the value-based politics by press, public leaders and intelligentsia in India from the platform and in the mass media, corruption in public life and criminalization of politics has increased in our society. Obstacles in implementation. It is not an easy task to organize movements against social problems. There are many vested interest groups who may want a particular situation to continue. The forest contractors would oppose the stopping of the felling of trees. The owners of liquor shops would not favor prohibition. Over a time, movements are able to make the government and other institutions recognize the situation and accept the legitimacy of the claim. As a result, policies could be formulated by the government to deal with the situation, rules against deforestation, various laws to improve the condition of women. Stages of movements. At first stage, there is a awareness about social problem in a few individuals or in a small group. At the second stage, they try to propagate their point of view among the people. At the third stage, there is organized dissent, protest and agitation. Finally, it leads to the building of a movement. If we take the example of the Sati Pratha as prescribed in India in the 19th century, the movement started by Raja Ram Mohan Roy against it. Then we find that the anti-Sati movement passed through all the phases which are mentioned above. Social policy refers to the view that a government has on a particular situation and how it will deal with it. In India, there is a social policy on education, women environment, scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, urbanization and drug addiction, etc. There is intimate relationship between social movements, social problems and social policy. Social movements pressurize governments to evolve remedial measures to control social problems. Actually, strong social movements, public awareness and official policies, all the three must work together to combat against social problems. In this context, we have to keep in view that the state is the most powerful and significant institution in modern society. Its role is very important in combating against social problems, but state intervention has got its own limitations and it can be more effective if there is the support of the people behind the action of the state and policies adopted by it. Policy, ideology and welfare. It is difficult to differentiate between social policies and social welfare policies, as some of the groups which are covered under social policy may also need welfare. All over the world, irrespective of ideologies, states are adopting welfare policies such as child welfare, youth welfare, women welfare, welfare of aged, welfare of weaker sections, and policies related to employment, security, health scheme, education, ecology and rural-urban development. These policies have contributed very significantly in curbing the threat of the several social problems. The policy with regard to social problems is depend on ideology. The capitalist point of view would be that open market and free economy would take care of the needs of society. Now, there are some questions on the basis of this session. First is define social disorganization while with suitable examples, and second is mention the different stages of a social movement. That's it for this session. Thank you. Happy learning, we learning.